Okay, everybody, let's get started. So, thank you everybody for attending the Andrew Sandoval Kickoff today. Woo! So, my name's Chris Barrera, and I am going to be your MC. First time I've been asked to be an MC, so I hope I do Andrew proud. So, I'm the first speaker, so I have something prepared. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're having a good time. My name is Chris Barrera, and it's an honor to be here today talking about someone who truly represents the heart and soul of District 5, Andrew Sandoval. Great friend, awesome person, and has a heart of gold, even though he's not into football. No, he's not a Raider fan. He gets touchdowns mixed up with home runs and goals. We still have a whole lot in common, though, and that's community. But I'm not giving up. Who knows? Maybe one day he will be a Cowboy fan. Now, let me start by saying this. When people think about politicians, they usually think long speeches, complicated words, and someone who suddenly forgets your name after Election Day. Andrew was the exact opposite. Andrew was a guy who remembers your name, your kid's name, your dog's name, and probably what you were worried about the last time you talked to him. And if he doesn't remember, he's going to follow up because that is who he is. That's not politics. That's commitment. That's community. And let's be honest, in a world where some folks only show up when there's a camera, Andrew shows up when there's a problem. You'll find him in the neighborhoods of District 5, right here in Salinas. And he even gets plenty of phone calls to help others in other districts. That says a lot, and that speaks volumes. He's just not at ribbon cuttings, but at community meetings, school events, sometimes even in the middle of a conversation where someone says, "Hey Andrew, can I talk to you real quick?" And Andrew actually stops and listens. Who does that? Andrew does. And even when he answers his phone, and if he doesn't, he will call you back. Now, I've seen a lot of leaders. Some talk about change. Some campaign on change. Andrew actually does the work. Because real leadership means making tough decisions. It means standing up when you're in an uncomfortable spot and being out of your comfort zone. It means putting people before politics every single time. And Andrew does that. Andrew has his priorities in line. Family is always first, and his family is a true testament of the kind of person he is. But let's lighten things up for a second, because if you know Andrew, you know he's got that quiet sense of humor. He's not the loudest guy in the room, but he's the one who will drop a comment so subtle you don't even realize it was funny until 5 seconds later. And then you're like, wait, that was actually pretty good. I get that a lot. Sometimes he even thinks he's a comedian at my expense. That's Andrew. Calm, steady, and thoughtful. And honestly, in today's world, we could use a little bit more of that. Because District 5 doesn't need noise. It needs leadership, and right now, D5 has the right leadership. It needs someone who understands the people, the struggles, and the potential of this community. Someone who sees not just where we are, but where we can go. And Andrew Sandoval sees that. He sees safer streets, stronger neighborhoods, opportunities for our youth, support for working families. He sees Salinas where everyone has a chance, not just a few. And here's the truth. This election isn't just about one person. It's about the kind of leadership we want moving forward. Do we want someone who shows up only when it's convenient? Or someone who shows up consistently? Which one? Do we want talk or do we want action? Which one? Thank you. With Andrew Sandoval, we don't have to guess. We already know. So today I'm asking to stand with someone who has stood with you, to support someone who has supported this community, to re-elect a leader who leads with integrity, humility, and heart. Mr. deserves that, and Andrew Sandoval has earned it. So let's get him reelected. Andrew Sandoval, District 5 City Council. Trust me, baby. So the next speaker up and next is Asia Guillory. Where's Asia? Give her a warm welcome.
Good afternoon, folks. There's a song, I think Andrew put it on the Instagram. If you don't know me by now, you'll never, never, never know me. I want to first say that there's a rumor that he was stalking me, and I don't want him to catch any other cases. So that is not exactly what happened. I met Andrew at a school board meeting along with Chris when I was dealing with some challenges my own son was having at Washington Middle School. And what I've noticed is not only do they show up, but they follow through, and that's really important. And so from that interaction, we continue to be allies and support all the work that he's done and has continued to advocate mainly for the sake of the community. As he is a father, he knows how important the children of Salinas are and their education is, and I value that. It takes a lot of courage, right, to run for city council. If it was easy, everybody would be one. It takes a lot of sacrifice. It costs money. You have to have a lot of patience because, as we know, things take a long time for us to actually see progress. They talk a good talk about progress, but progress takes work and progress takes time. And then you also have to have a lot of tolerance, and you have to be willing to have courage to stand up to adversity. And that's what we've seen with Andrew. What's interesting, what we've already heard, is I asked Andrew like a couple years ago, what is your agenda? And the beauty in that is his agenda is our agenda. His agenda is the issues that we as residents bring to the table, that we're willing to speak up and fight for, that he also makes sure that he shows up and fights for. He's all about equity, and he's definitely about transparency. The other thing that I can say about Andrew is he is in the field. He's had many events in the community. He's encouraged volunteerism. He's trying to bring movies and fun, not just the idea of us participating in what we call local politics, but for us to be a part of something that's greater than just the one or two city council meetings. And I appreciate that as well. And he's willing to show up, as we heard, not just for the trends and not just for the wins. He's going to be there. So I would say, the other thing is he cannot do this alone. He has a family, he has some friends, and at the same time, it takes a village. So we got volunteer sign-ups. He's going to need people to walk these streets. He's going to need people to actually not just hold signs, right, but go out and talk to your neighbors to actually hear about what the issues are so we can truly address them. And I do have to do a sidewalk plug, I'm sorry, because we talked about Eric Sleazy street repair. We talked about it at the city council. For how many years has sidewalks and all of that about the streets been coming up and coming up and coming up? But this gentleman made sure that actually ground got broken and things actually did get paid, despite all of the adversity, right? So I want to say that. So again, volunteer. I also encourage people to work the elections. If you don't know, Monterey County Elections actually does pay poll workers. And I got involved in that, and that's another way for you to get involved and meet different people in your community, and actually, be a community. And it's not going to be easy. I think the other thing is if you pay attention and you're watching the news, we're in some trying times. And so we want to not just show up for, again, the trends and wins, but also be there to support when it's time to push agendas, when it's time to deal with adversity, when it's time to actually speak out against corruption and all of that stuff too. So if you don't know him by now, you'll never, never know him. Vote Andrew. Congratulations.
Thank you, Asia. Let's hear it again for Asia Guillory. Next up is the one and only Eric Peterson.
Actually, It's amazing how many people have the identical name. And that's not why I'm here. Good afternoon. I'm the District 5 representative on Traffic and Transportation Commission, and it's a blast working with you. We've got a city council now that's basically throwing money at things. And the big one recently was when they essentially gave away $400,000 with no accountability. Andrew voted against it. Andrew's the one standing up for us, the people who pay taxes, things like that. And I'm going to do everything I can to get him reelected simply because he's the first council member in District 5 for a long time who's actually worked for District 5. Thank you. There's two kinds of people, the quick and the dead.
Eric, for that. Next up in line is Qantas Garlington. Qantas works at the city.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Chris has outed me, you may have seen me at workshops and things relative to housing throughout our city. I've been a resident of District 5 for the last 13 years of my life, and I've always voted for Andrew Sandoval. So it's an honor to stand here before you all today to throw my support to someone who has never been afraid to stand up for us. And he is standing up, not alone, but with all of us. In a time where it's easier to stay quiet, easier to go along, easier to avoid controversy, Andrew always chooses a different path to speak up on our behalf. He's chosen to speak up again for us. Not only has he spoken for the residents of District 5, he speaks for all residents within our city. He has spoken up for renters when it wasn't popular. He's spoken up when the question and the debate over the repeal of rental ordinances were at stake and the future of people's stability when it comes to housing was on the line. And he didn't whisper about it. He actually spoke up. He made sure that everyone knew. Because Andrew is a leader. Leadership isn't something that's about comfort. It's about accountability. And now, let's be real. Like, there's plenty of challenges within our city, within the system. When you question decisions and when you demand transparency, you're going to stand up. And that's what he does all the time. Andrew stands out no matter what. Not because he wants attention, but because he refuses to let decisions happen. He has made a priority to bring people into the conversation, especially our young people. They are our future. People who might otherwise feel like government isn't for them, people who now are paying attention, asking questions, and realizing that their voice matters is because of Andrew. So, that doesn't happen. He's been a voice for the people, a voice for transparency, as we kick off this campaign, let's remember what it's really about. It's about a city that listens. It's about a government that reflects its movement. And it's about continuing the work of someone who has already proven he's willing to fight for both. So let's stand with Andrew. Let's stand for accountability. Let's stand for Salinas.
Thank you, Aquinas, for that. Let's hear it again for Aquinas. Next up, Marisol Gonzalez.
So, in true Andrew fashion, I did not pre-write my speech, so I hope I don't embarrass it. Andrew, I know. I am a recent graduate from UC Santa Cruz. I had no, thank you. I have not been in the workforce since, and I just, fortunately, Andrew puts himself in a position where and just everyone will fight him. Andrew is the most accessible person in this town, in this city, and he somehow thinks he's inspired everybody that he interacts with. He makes us feel that we are ourselves, and he reminds us that the people at the city council aren't actually doing anything for us. He awoke me to local politics. He showed me so much. He's taught me so much with nothing to. He's not asking for anything in return. I'm a volunteer. We work super, super hard to make sure that we help Andrew in any way that we can to bring anything to the community. Events, knowledge, participation. So this is kind of my goal to work with you. I would love to work with each and every one of you. I would love to walk these streets, knock on these doors together. I will be there with you, and I know Andrew will too. He is not the kind of person that says, all right, please go do this for me while I do whatever, right? He is not a normal politician. He is going to be out there with each and every one. Who he is here for. So, just thank you all for being here. And I hope to see you knocking on doors, standing with me, standing with him. Thank you.
Let's hear it again for Marisol. Really awesome. Next up, Andres Martinez.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Andres Martinez. I'm a current junior at Salinas High School, and I am truly honored to be here before all of you today. I currently serve on the first ever Salinas City Youth Council. I also serve on the current Superintendent Advisory Committee, and at my school, I serve as the Vice President of the Student Site Council at Salinas High. I'm also very involved in that community as a youth coach, and I first want to thank Councilmember Andrew Sandoval for the opportunity and for the continued support he's shown not only to me, myself, but to the members of the youth here in Salinas. And to the entire City Youth Council. His work and his effort is towards uplifting young people in this community, and it has not gone unnoticed. I would like to begin by saying that I'm a about being present in the community. From there, once I joined the first ever Salinas City Youth Council, I was able to grow and strengthen that relationship and Andrew Sandoval as a counselor. I got to see who he is as a person. I got to see how he shows up, how he leads, and how he treats others. My experience with the city council has been there he was, right next to us, supporting the youth, riding with us, engaging with the community. Then again, at the Parade of Lights, there he was once more, full of energy, singing Christmas carols, interacting with the crowd and connecting with families and young people. His energy is unlike anything you've ever seen before. It's consistent, it is genuine, and it is contagious. Every time you run into it, that positivity is always there. And it is not just events, it is in the small moments too. He understands that he is elected to serve the public, not special interests, not donors, not outside influences, but the people of Salinas. And he is not afraid to be vocal. He is not afraid to stand up for what is right, even when it's not the easiest thing to do. And that takes courage and integrity. And that is exactly the kind of leadership that we need. Now, during this campaign season, we may hear people say that District 5 deserves better. But I want to be clear, District 5 does not need better in the sense of replacing a strong, proven leader. What our city deserves better is representation that puts people first, that prioritizes community over special interests, that values transparency, and that uplifts every voice, including our youth. Because the truth is, what we deserve as city is a leadership that is not driven by outside influence, but leadership that is grounded in the needs of the people who live here, work here, and grow up here. And that is why I stand here today with full confidence to give my strong support and endorsement to Andrew Sandoval for District 5, because together, moving forward, we can continue building the Salinas that we believe in. A city that is stronger, more united, more transparent, and more inclusive. A city where young people are not just the future, but the present. Andrew Sandoval has already shown us what leadership looks like. He has already put in the work, and now it is our responsibility to continue that progress. So let's continue moving forward. Let's continue believing in what this city can become, and let's re-elect Andrew Sandoval as councilman for District 5.
Great job, great job. He's a junior in high school. Unbelievable. Wow. Let's hear it once again for Andres Martinez. Next up, Jasmine Topete.
I was gonna write a speech, but I was like, I'd rather just talk from my heart. How I met Andrew. A year ago,
ago, I graduated from UC Santa Cruz. Thank you. Which I'm like, oh, you graduated from UC Santa Cruz. How cool. But I didn't know where I was going to be at a year ago. Now, I'm like, wow, I'm so involved. And a person that got me into this was also Andrew. I met Andrew through PSR. I didn't know that Andrew was my council member, even though I've been living in the same district for my whole 22 years of life. I didn't know who my council member was. That's how naive I was to like the world of politics. But I met Andrew at the first PSR meeting for the referendum campaign, and I was like, wow, that's my council member. So I went and did some research. I was like, who's Andrew Sandoval? Like anybody should do, right? And I went, did my research, and I can only find good things about him. Yeah, there was a couple more, but actually he's been showing up consistently for my district. Not only for my district, but for the whole community, the whole of Salinas. I've seen our parks a couple of years ago, they were not as good as they are now. There was slides that were broken. There was a mess in the parks, trash everywhere. Now he consistently has those cleanups. He consistently shows up for people. I consistently showed up for my district, but I didn't know who he was. Then after meeting him, I realized that Andrew is very much has a quality that I look for in a leader, and that is meeting people where they're at. Andrew has that quality that I look for in a leader, meeting people where they're at. I told him, I look up to you, and whenever I say my words, I mean those words, and I do look up to you, because meeting people where they're at is not easy, and he's shown up for everybody. I've seen his posts, I've seen him interact with the youth in a way that I haven't seen any other council member or mayor even do before. And I was like, he's meeting people where they're at. He doesn't expect you to come to him. He doesn't expect you to come to him, but he'd rather go to where you are at. What other council member, mayor do I see going out in the streets, doing his lives and trying to talk to the people that are at home, learn from them, learn what street lights are missing, which ones I can go and tell the city manager I can help fix that, right? What other member do you see staying up late at night trying to get signatures for a referendum? I don't see that at all, but I see that with Andrew. He meets our youth, he does these TikToks with our youth, and he does all of this to meet you where you're at because he wants you to be involved. And I've gotten messages from him, hey, do you want to be part of Measure E? Do you want to be part of Measure G? And sometimes I don't answer him. Sometimes I don't answer him, but I know he sees a potential in me that I might not see myself. And I know that if I ever decide to run for anything, be a part of anything, I will have his support and the whole community support. Because he's somebody that does believe in you and believes in our youth. He believes you're not just the future, but the present right now. And that's why his focus is also to bring this youth that I've really seen awoken because of his social media. And not only his social media, because of his work, but also doing work. Like I said, meeting you where you're at. He's on the ground, he's online, he's doing everything he can to bring you to the conversation, to get your perspective, your point of view, whatever you think, because he is for the people. He's the only one that I have seen so far that is for the people, that he listens to you, he takes the time to get to know you. He sent me a message. I was working one day at work, and he was like, I met your mom. And I was like, how do you know who my mom is? And he was like, yeah, we had a long conversation. And then I got home, and I was like, did you meet Andrew? She was like, yeah, we did. But he like really listened and paid attention, and he gave me so many tips and just talked. And I was like, wow, that's my council member. That's my council member. And that's why I encourage you all to walk for him, help him win his campaign, because we need somebody that is for the people, and Andrew is for the people. And he's shown it consistently, and shown that he's for the people. He's there to listen to you, take your concerns, and give you a better solution that's not just a question for you, but a better solution.
Yes, man, let's hear it again for her.
My name is Aida Fabias. Thank you much for being here this afternoon. This is a campaign campaign. So many of you have been hearing stories and testaments of things that you were a part of or organizers. We have a time right now in the elections of high school where we are really being asked to defend representation as it should be. What you've heard is a council member who listens, who responds, who is for transparency and accountability.
ensures that we are building a better Salinas. We have a council member who's been working tirelessly and often working to make sure that waste is as good for council District 5 over the whole city. But we are being faced with David and Elaine because our voices become very small. Tens of thousands of dollars to create a narrative, to purchase ads, and to shut our voice out. So this moment is whether we are going to stand up and defend the type of council member that honestly I wish every council had, because our city would be very different. But right now that's not what we have. We have special interest or established business here that has benefited from the hard work and sacrifice and labor of our residents. They have benefited from the lack of accountability and transparency at our city council. They have benefited from electing folks that do not ask questions, that do not seek to answer the question why. Many of us have overwhelmed Andrew with, can you help me with this? And oftentimes it requires investigation and asking for documentation, asking for what the policy and procedure is. Why is it like this? And time again he has found, often for no good reason, just because it's how it's been done. And changing it can happen, but it's a process in itself. And as residents, we've realized that a lot of things that run in Salinas have been run this way for a long time. And less people are benefiting from that process. We do not have equity in voice and representation. It is not going to be someone else fixing it. It is us. The group of us starting today and future volunteers carry this responsibility to make sure that we keep the fighter, the representative of District 5 in its place. It's going to be us. And we're going to show special interest, those deep dollars, that we do have bigger numbers and we have deeper commitment. We're not going to pick up and move to a different part of town or somewhere else and have whole new lives just because we can and we know what's going on. We're invested in this community. We need for things to change. We don't have other options. In the next few weeks, we're going to be gathering more and more volunteers and starting the campaign in earnest. And what that means and what that will require is commitment, time, and money. Something in American politics that doesn't change whether you're running for city council or governor or president. The difference is that we, the many, will have to be united. We will have to be committed to giving of our time and our resources at any level. Do not count yourself out. If your donation amount today, which I hope it starts today, is as little as $5, $10, $15, it makes a difference. If later on it becomes $100, great. But your time, your energy, and your resources is what's needed in order for you to keep what you've heard today in place. Because a handful of people, less than 5 organizations, can cut checks today that can fund an entire marketing campaign for the next few months. But he will need your voice and your representation by knocking on doors, by volunteering, and finding the funds for him, your own funds or people that you know, in order for him to have a chance to create the social media campaign that he will need to accurately represent who he is in his own voice to the community. This is a challenge, and I want to be honest and transparent with all of you, because we have been burned many times before. We think it's the right candidate, they're honest, they're accountable, and then $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 and campaign money can turn an election overnight. Misleading information, attempts to negatively portray a candidate with false information. You know firsthand how much we collaborate.
centrist, they're not going to go away. But we have to live in better balance and equity. So what I ask of you today is to walk away with a sense that you can contribute to one step closer to ensuring that Salinas has the representation that it deserves at the district level. And that we set an example for all other councils of how electeds should present themselves to the city. We deserve it. We work hard. Tax season just closed. We pay our money in one way or another. The homeowner, property taxes, sales taxes. We pay it one way or the other. But getting good representation starts at the district level. And that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to tell you that just this turnout alone, it's not the only one kicking off. We're going to build a really strong coalition because we're going to realize that only together we're going to make this happen. Only together. And I invite you to join us for the long haul because it's going to be a long few months. I invite you to think deeply about what this means for your family, for your neighbors. And I just want to say that I can't be more proud, I couldn't be more proud to be here today because I think and I know that the city hasn't had a representative like this in my life. I'm in my mid-40s, born and raised here. My mother's here, my grandfather, my great-grandfather, and since the 1800s. I'm telling you, I've never seen anybody do what he's done. And he's done it with very little, and he's done it with sincerity and a real commitment to just do the best he can. That's the average person in an extraordinary way that he is. I couldn't do what he does. I have a family too, and I think of all their sacrifices that they do. And this is how I've been helped. My time, my energy, and that's what's going to be the message moving forward. And with that, I'd like to welcome your candidate for District 5 to keep his seat, Andrew Sandoval.
My daughter's on her lunch, so I'm going to invite my daughter who's going to share a few words. My daughter Bella. Since being elected, and keep in mind that I don't make decisions solely, so a lot of the decisions were made by the previous city council. And even this city council has supported some of those things. So I just want to say that we made significant improvements. Sandoval Grade Road, we started parts of Miranda Road in District 5. We made improvements to Davis Road. Main Street is getting some improvements. Believe it or not, some of my biggest accomplishments you may never hear about, and it's navigating through processes. For the folks that live in this area, they may not know, but the light routes of Pasadena is not the city of Salinas' timing schedule. So navigating that, so we got an extra 7 seconds for residents of this area so they can get through traffic months to get contrast to do their roads. Some of the things like getting lines painted along the bridge, getting street lights, just required, but we're going to have street lights installed in areas that haven't been traditionally done. So some of those things, with the help of my colleagues, but also with the help of a lot of residents, I'll mention in just a little bit. Millions of dollars have been invested in our parks, roads, and sidewalks. And District 5 actually has neighborhood roads that are getting improved, not just our big areas. We passed something called the Pavement Management Plan, which I know doesn't seem like a whole lot of exciting things, but the Pavement Management Plan is important because it finally gives us a clear path to improve a certain road and just shoot for millions, which by the way the city has done for a long time. You would be, well, I don't think you would be surprised, but and also one of the things I'm glad to be pushing this year is a sidewalk improvement management plan. For a long time, people have been told, well, if you reported your sidewalk, it's on a list. I have that list, and what I can tell you about the list is there are sidewalks that were repaired 2 years ago. 2 years ago that were also reported 2 years ago. So unfortunately, we don't have that consistent plan that we tell residents, which is why a lot of residents don't trust the city. Because things we promised, and I say we because I am part of the city, but working to change some of these things, we've promised residents for a long, long time, may not be actually in the pipeline. And that's why we need part of the reason I ran for city council is to hold our own city accountable to the residents. If we told you something, and trust me, I'm still dealing with some of the promises of my predecessors. They made promises to certain neighborhoods that they're going to see improvements, but the problem is those promises have to be backed by approvals of the city council, not just their word. So some of those projects never come through. And that's why for me it's a sense of be so persistent with our city council, our city manager as well. I want to talk about Protect Salinas Winters. And Protect Salinas Winters, and I remember that day we met Jasmine at Sandoval Learning Center, and I had, the community was so discouraged. And I remember I told Chris, I said, you know what, I'm going to schedule a meeting. Schedule a meeting Monday night at 9 o'clock. I said, you can't schedule a meeting at 9 o'clock, no one's going to show up. And I said, if people care, and if it's important, people will show up. And I doubted it. I really doubted it. And then the time came and people started showing up. Jasmine was one of those people that showed up. There was doctors, there was nurses, there was teachers, there was community, and people just started showing up. And from that meeting, we Protect Salinas, and then people just, I couldn't believe it because I thought, that was a historic moment for our community. We were up against big money, special interests, and the community showed up. Hundreds of people showed up. People who had never participated in government showed up. And somebody here who was her name was Lucy. She showed up. She messaged me and she helped collect this. And I had not seen this young lady for a long, long time. And she said, "Where do you need me to go?" And I was literally sitting addresses to her and to countless others. Mobilized, volunteer. Got Sunburn. I know Nivea is here. Yeah, Olga, there's just so many people mobilized. And for the first time in Salinas, we overturned a council decision that impacted thousands. Started a story with word stacking. Okay, so I joke with that, but for me, I'm very persistent. Jasmine, she does not always respond to my messages, but that's okay. Once in a while, and that goes to a lot of people, but I'm I'm just so determined to get people involved because at the end of the day, I'd say Andrew and I am sometimes the loudest voice, but there are so many people who actually, not that I'm not helping any, but there are so many people behind the scenes knocking on the doors and mobilizing people. And I see George, yeah, big props to George, a lot of respect, who mobilizes folks, who gets community involved. These are the people doing the heavy lifting to mobilize our community. So I'm truly inspired by the community that I see together. Unfortunately, like a lot of people said, we have not seen the city council make decisions based on the best interest of our community. The reality is so much money was put into this last election. Just myself, they spent almost $70,000 to run for office. So of course, I try to make the folks who's got money against me. And so my wife is giving me this, I'll keep moving. But since I have your attention, and I couldn't understand why, but I know that the way money, the direction that the city council has spent money has not benefited our neighborhoods in our community. The neighborhoods, our community wants sidewalk repairs, street repair, speed bumps, traffic calming. They want the quality parks, things that affect them. And recently we saw a decision of over $500,000 years ago who showed up to my first campaign party and was, I remember sitting there and I thought, what is this gentleman looking? I think he's trying to figure out why am I running, but residents like you who have been engaged in asking questions and pushing for more transparency and accountability is what we need. He's the one who gave me the insight about the Welcome Center money. And I thought to myself, there's just no way, because we have so many priorities in our community. How could this special funding of over $500,000 just get put on our agenda? I'm trying to get benches for our parks, restrooms for our parks, traffic, sidewalks, things that actually matter to our social media, the public comments, the active engaged residents right here. I have a couple of my commissioners, Joey, who's representing us on the police commission. We have, yes. He's holding up. We have Eric. We have so many people who are engaged residents of Salinas, and we need more of that. So I just appreciate all of your support. I'm committed to being present. We try to be accessible as much as we can. Win this campaign for the community, and streets continue to be a priority. And it's not just about fixing streets, because it's about doing it right. It's not just about fixing potholes, it's about doing it right. And it's not just about funding certain projects, but making sure it's So I appreciate all of you. Oh, Mr. Guerra's in the building. I want to share something about Mr. He is not a District 5 resident, but he consistently shows up like a lot of other residents and consistently puts our feet to the fire. So thank you to the youth who is here. Thank you to the community who is here. Thank you to Andres. He's right. And for a lot of, I want to say he's right, because uplifting our youth voices. And by the way, I didn't ask Jasmine to run for mayor. Yes, I'm going to put her on blast because I do believe that the youth is not our future. That's a played out line. The youth is now. That's really the reality. The youth is now. You know, so I'm thankful for Andres. I remember the day he walked up to his house and people say you shouldn't put your address online and you should. My wife gives us permission. But what I'm going to say is, the youth is now, and I want to continue to. And I wish I was listening to some and maybe that's not the plan of the future. Maybe could you imagine a mayor like Jasmine or regular residents of Salinas sitting on the city council and not politicians? So I just want to thank you all for being here, and I could really use your support. It's going to be an adventure, but I'm committed to make sure I'm holding our city accountable, being transparent, make sure we're investing dollars in our community and the priorities of our residents. So thank you. Have some pizza, some fun dulce.
Sign up to volunteer.
That's right.
Meet me at the table.
Phone banking.
Oh, thank you to everyone who helped set up. And we had Paige from Greenfield. She made the buttons and donated it. So thank you all so much.
So that's about it. If anyone else wants to say a few words, this is the time.
There's one.
Yes, sir.
My name is Edwin and I live just over there. Live here 40 years. And I've seen this guy all over the place. How many of you can say that you've seen the council? There's the guy that shows up, does what he says, represent our interest. So I support him. Everyone should. So let's sign up. Both signs are expensive. MP Express charges $30 each. I know, because I made signs too. So campaign costs money. We don't want the big elites trying to drown our voice with misinformation. So let's get people's power into our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Abraham. Next up, George Riley.
Thank you. It's fun being here. It's really encouraging to be around Andrew. But I'm from the peninsula, I'm from Monterey, and coastal. Don't come over here very often. So I've initiated a postcard campaign. If they don't come here, they do not get right. That's my campaign. I am trying to recruit people to write and support voting. It's simple. This campaign is now in June, next month or so. Anyway, I'm just saying, if the peninsula will come here, we'll bring their postcards here. We'll make them do that work and pay for it. All right. Good luck.
Anyone else? What? Yes, sir. Come on down.
Mike Cross. This is sorry. Hello, everybody. My name is Brian Short. I've known Andrew for a while. He was my boss for a little bit, and it's a pleasure working for him. And so I know how he does good, running a show. But it's not a show. It's just, you know what I mean. Like he gets things done. He's thinking about. He gave me the opportunity I couldn't find a job after school with the school lead. And I could go on and on about this guy. I just want to say, God bless you, Andrew. You're going to win. Let's do it. Go all the way.
Brian, anyone else out there? All right, thank you for coming. Remember, we must get Andrew reelected. We need your time, your energy, your money. Everything costs money, so